I have a video of Michael Irvin that was shit. Fuck. Damn. Ow. That hurt. Damn. Fucking wind. Ow. Well, good Monday morning, friends. Mark Holmes here. Of course, Joe Boo is down at the Red Brick House, but we got Joe Bear. What's up, Joe Bear? As always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Thank you. Thank you, football gods. Let's get open for business and let's wake them up. Because this week, oh my goodness, today is the 22nd. The team heads to Oxnard this week. Probably the tractor trailers have already gotten there. They've already unpacked the equipment. They probably have the field already painted. They've got the tape in the training room. Oh, guys, girls, people, this is what we've been waiting for. The off season is about to be off. And we got all kinds of storylines here. We got CeeDee Lamb, if he's going to show up, has he softened his stance? We've got Tyler Guyton. People are saying that he may not be ready to start the season, that Igota may end up being the starter at left tackle. Dak Prescott, will they get his deal done? Will we sign anybody? And so on. There's a lot of storylines. The worst thing is what we've heard all offseason is the Cowboys don't have any money to sign people. And people look, it's complicated. It's complicated because the way the salary cap works. It's one of those things that we all know that Justin Jefferson has got a deal that's worth $35 million a year. Okay? $35 million a year. But his cap number went from being about $17 million to $8 million for this year. Then next year ends up being $15 million. The year after it does jump to $38 million. But if you add those numbers together, it's not $35 million on the cap. And that's the bottom line of what you have to understand. You know, we sit here and we say, oh, well, Cowboys can't afford to sign anybody and things. They could if they wanted to. That's the problem. The Cowboys are always that guy. Like me, I'll be 100% real. I didn't study for a test till the night before. I'm trying to cram in a whole semester's worth of stuff the night before the test. So my test didn't come out too good. Or I've got a report that you got 2 weeks to do. I'm waiting till the last 2 days to try and get it going. And see, you guys don't understand the struggle because back in my day, we used to have to go to the library, go through the Dewey Decimal System, find the card that tells you where the book you want is, go in the stacks to try and find the book and find out there was only 3 copies of it and all 3 are checked out and not due back in for another week. Y'all just don't understand how spoiled you guys are. Be that as it may. That's the Dallas Cowboys. Because, see, the Cowboys, you know, they create the narrative. They say, well, you can't afford, we can't afford to do that. When you spend money in free agency, it's because you drafted poorly and you can't do it because you'll overspend for a player. And instead of overspending for a player because you screwed up in free agency, you just say, we're going to ignore the problem. We're going to ignore it. We don't have any linebackers. It's okay. We'll just make do. You can't just make do in the NFL. And the reality is, the Cowboys, projection-wise right now, even though there's not a contract for CeeDee Lamb or Dak Prescott at the moment, are projected to have $65 million. Actually sounds pretty good. In comparison to the Eagles, people will say, oh, the Eagles, well, they've locked up everybody. They're in great shape. They got all these players. They're in great shape if those players pan out. What happens if Jalen Hurts was a one-year wonder in that last year's Jalen Hurts is more the norm as opposed to the exception? What if Kellen Moore ends up being a disaster because Kellen Moore's trying to make him a pocket quarterback, doing multiple reads and combination routes, and it doesn't suit Jalen Hurts' game, and they got to turn around and get another offensive coordinator or another quarterback, because we know the Eagles don't sit pat waiting. They'll be more than happy to start over. But if the Cowboys, because here's where it's crazy. Think about this for a second. Just think about this, because we're sitting here with $12 million. If they had gotten C.D. Lamb's contract done earlier in the year, I know they were waiting for the leaves to start falling and everything else. Well, fall's not far away, and I've already got some leaves falling out on my deck. CD is currently $17 million of our cap, 17.8. If we just use Justin Jefferson's contract as a barometer, because they both came into the league the same year, they were both first-round draft picks, they were both on their fifth-year option. The way they structured the contract for him, $8 million cap hit this year. The Cowboys did that exact same thing. They save $9 million right now, boosting us from $12 million to $21 million. Right? Any money that you don't spend, and the Cowboys probably are not going to spend much of this. We don't see the Cowboys making major moves because, again, that's beyond Stephen Jones's mentality. Even though signing Deion Sanders helped to bring the Cowboys a Super Bowl, it was proven. Even though bringing Charles Haley here was part of winning 3 Super Bowls, Stephen Jones still does not think that that's the way to build the team. But if you do that with C.D. Lamb and make his cap hit number only $15 million, which, of course, takes from that 65, that still leaves you $50 million. Oh, and if you don't spend that $9 million, you can roll that over. So understand, when you think we can't afford to pay him, we basically could sign C.D. Lamb today to exactly what Justin Jefferson's contract was and go from having $65 million of cap space next year, 65, to 59. Now, the Cowboys could have done this earlier, and instead of rolling that money over, had that money to say, Derrick Henry. You could have signed C.D. Lamb and Derrick Henry for what you currently have scheduled for C.D. at this moment. The same is true with Dak Prescott. You could have saved yourself about $20 million on the cap for this year. Now, I get it. The Cowboys may look at this and say we're better off eating 55 this year and creating more space next year. That if we actually start out with only $40 million, of dead money, potentially in 4 voidable years, that if we start the contract for next year, then we've gotten rid of that 55 and we can keep that number down real low as well. Start his contract out maybe around $20 million. Which still leaves you $39 million. What I'm saying is, if you understand the cap and you have people who understand how to make the contracts fit the cap, you can do anything you want. The problem is, we don't have guys that want to do that. We'll see if anything happens. It seems like the Cowboys are finally getting back to work. It seems like C.D. Lamb is chomping at the bit, regardless of what his mom said about getting out of Dallas, that he wants to get a contract, and it sounds like he wants to get to training camp. And maybe, just maybe, his numbers, maybe it's not Justin Jefferson, maybe it's just slightly under, but it sounds like he wants to be there. We'll see if he shows up and says, hey, look, good faith, I'm going to show up to camp so I don't get that $50,000 a day fine and show you that I'm a team player. So why don't you start meeting me so we get this contract done? Nobody knows, but we'll find out in the next 2 days. Also, now this is where it's fun. The top 100 list starts out tomorrow. And it'll be interesting to see where some of our Cowboy players fall in there between Micah and, of course, Dak and CD and Zach Martin and Tyler Smith. We should definitely have at least 5 guys that are in there. We'll see if Deron Bland makes it. We'll see if Diggs is in it. But it'll be fun. I'll remind you of where we were last year with Dak Prescott, who had a down year.
I mean, I love the guy. He's our captain. He's our guy that everyone looks to, and he puts that all on his shoulders and goes out there and performs.
They just pulled off a 3rd and 30.
Dak. Our last game, bro, I was trying to, like our team sack record, I was trying to break it, but he's not letting me have it, man.
All right, so the question will be, of course, where will we be with the top 100 with Dak Prescott and crew this year after the season that we had? You know, last year was not a good year with the thumbing. Listen, they came through, they kicked our teeth in. And, of course, he's looking at getting paid and being part of the 55 million plus club as well. But honestly, I don't know that there's enough there to really judge, is he going to continue that throughout his NFL career? Or was that just a team that got hot because they did start off 2-5, having losses to Minnesota, to the Falcons, to the Raiders, who was the other team? Oh, New England, 2-5. They got hot going down the stretch and made the playoffs, and we're still kicking ass and taking names. So we'll see. That's another one of the hot ones. And, of course, now, before he's even played a preseason game, we've got Clab Williams that they've already anointed. So let's listen in here before we get out of here this morning. One other point, too, about Dak Prescott. If Dak Prescott makes it to the beginning of the season and starts this year, this will be the 9th year that he has been the starter for the Dallas Cowboys, which is passing Roger Staubach, who had started 8 seasons for the Dallas Cowboys, only behind Tony Romo at 10 and Troy Aikman for 12. That's kind of unbelievable when you start to think about the history of the Dallas Cowboys. The thing that Dak Prescott needs more than anything else, and I hope that this is part of the conversations with Stephen Jones and the Dallas Cowboys, is them working together to get that Super Bowl. That Dak says, you know what, I got enough money that I'm going to make a team-friendly deal. I'm going to help you out to help me out. And that we're going to try and get this thing done, because there's definitely holes in the roster. Zeke, I love him, great player, emotional leader on the team and things, but I don't know that he's enough to lead the team. If we got problems with Tyler Guyton, we may need to look at some extra help on the offensive line. And I am still scared shitless about our defensive line. And if Dak goes to them and says, listen, I'll take the Trevor Lawrence. I'll take 50. Just, let's leave a little bit extra on here. Let me put an extra year on there so you can hide the money or something like that. That we can make this thing team friendly to do some things because we want to win. That's what I hope is going on. I hope that's going on because the Cowboys can do anything they want to. They can get Dak Prescott's deal done today and have themselves $20 additional million. They can get CeeDee Lamb's deal done today and get themselves another $9 million. You could be looking at this moment right now, and have yourselves about $40 million of cap space, knowing that you're going to have 4 extra draft picks next season, comp picks, that you could make some trades and some moves to go ahead and say, we're all in. It's not too late. It's not too late. And quite frankly, at this point, if you did, you could actually look like geniuses because you didn't overpay for the free agents in the early part. You didn't trade that draft capital that was a premium before the draft. And you could all of a sudden, out of nowhere, surprise the hell out of people. Let's go to ESPN.
Is here to do QB quick reads. Dan, let's start at the very top. Patrick Mahomes expected to arrive at camp today, and so will his newest target, rookie wide receiver Xavier Worthy, who ran the fastest 40 in the history of the Combine. With that and other additions, Dan, can Mahomes and this offense be even better this season?
Well, it can't be worse, Greeny. You know, they won the Super Bowl last year because of their defense and then timely play by Patrick, but the addition of speed is the big element. Rashee Rice will still hopefully be there for their football team, but Xavier Worthy and the addition of Hollywood Brown give this offense what they didn't have last year, the ability to be explosive.
It is, Damian Woody, it is not an exaggeration. It's not hyperbole to say Xavier Worthy is faster than Tyreek Hill. That doesn't mean he's better than Tyreek Hill. Almost no one is better than Tyreek Hill, but he is literally faster. So what does that mean for this offense?
Greeny, you can't teach speed. That's the one thing that scares defenders at night. And so when you have players like a Xavier Worthy, a Hollywood Brown, they be able to stretch the defense, guess what it does? It helps other players around him. Travis Kelce would be the biggest beneficiary in those intermediate routes that Patrick Mahomes loves to go to him on.
What do you think? Could this go from being a weakness to a strength, Dan?
I mean, look, it's degrees of things with the Chiefs, right? They're excellent. They're going to be the favorites for good reason, offense or not. But, they need to figure out left tackle still. Xavier Worthy, exciting player, but there's not a ton of history of rookie receivers hitting it big right away in that Andy Reid offense. So I think it could progress as the season goes along, but I am not worried about the Chiefs. I mean, the question is, are the Chiefs going to be good? Yeah, I think the Chiefs are going to be good.
Chiefs are going to be good.
I feel really good about that prediction.
Yeah, and the question
Andy Reid's still the coach, Patrick Mahomes still the quarterback.
Are they going to become the first team ever to win 3 straight Super Bowls? That's really the question there. Let's go to East Rutherford, New Jersey, where Giants rookies will report today. And among them, the 6th overall pick, that's another wide receiver. That's Malik Neighbors. And Orlovsky, it's a lot to put on a rookie, but the question is this: can he save Daniel Jones' career?
Well, he's got to make him something he's never been. That's dynamic and explosive at that position. Greeny, we're talking about Daniel Jones as the quarterback spot. He's thrown for over 15 touchdowns once in his career. That was his rookie season in 2019. He's never thrown for more than 3,200 yards. So Malik Neighbors coming off of the college season when he averaged 17 yards per catch. It's not save his career, make Daniel Jones to be something he's never been in the NFL. Really good.
You know, D. Wood, I think about the addition of Malik Neighbors. I think about the departure of Saquon Barkley, and I personally can't get that out of my head. What do you expect from this Giants offense led by Daniel Jones?
Well, I mean, first it'd be nice if Daniel Jones stays on the field healthy. I think as much as we talk about Malik Neighbors and we know how dynamic he is, I think everything's going to be dependent on this offensive line that the Giants have right now, because they've invested heavily in this line over the years, and it just hasn't happened, hasn't done anything quite well. Those guys have to protect. They got to get it going up front, because that's going to be the key for Daniel Jones, is being able to be protected.
Yeah. They've invested a lot in the offensive line over the years. They brought in some sort of lower cost pieces they think are going to help on the line this offseason. Malik Neighbors, the most exciting player Daniel Jones has ever played with. And I say that with full respect to Saquon Barkley, because it just never really connected with Saquon and the Giants. This makes them a different-looking team. If Daniel Jones can stay on the field and get that player the ball, it's exciting.
Yes, if you've been watching Hard Knocks, you are well aware that Joe Schoen, the general manager, wants you to know that he was never going to pay a running back anything near the amount of money that Saquon Barkley wound up getting paid. Right. God bless him in Philadelphia. We'll see how all of that goes. Now, one more for you to kick off the morning here. It is reporting day for Caleb Williams and the Bears rookie.
They already have him in the Hall of Fame.
I'll explain that in a moment, but first, Orlovsky, let's live in a world where everything works out great here with the contract, and we'll cover that in a moment. Do you think the Bears can make the playoffs in Caleb's rookie season?
Everything's got to go right for them. They can play meaningful games into December, which is a huge win for this organization. It's going to come down to 3 things. Number 1, Keenan Allen's got to stay healthy. Number 2, Romo Dunze's their top 10 wide receiver pick, got to play like a top 10 wide receiver. And then Caleb's really going to have to understand the nuance of balance in the NFL and kind of being that patient quarterback, because when you're a dynamic playmaker at any level and you're used to that style, and then teams and defenses specifically say you're not going to play that way, it's very difficult for competitive people who Caleb is to fall into that. And I think that's going to be where the greatest growth is going to have to come from Caleb.
Yeah, you got the quarterback, and then Odunze. There were scouts that we heard from who thought he was the best receiver in this class, ahead of Harrison and ahead of Neighbors. Obviously, all that remains to be seen. I sort of hinted at the idea that there could, like the rookies are reporting today.
Yeah.
Do we expect to see the quarterback and the star receiver there?
Look, neither Caleb Williams nor Roma Dunze has signed his contract yet. In the offseason for OTAs and minicamp, you can sign a waiver and participate as a rookie, even if you haven't signed your rookie contract. That is not the case for training camp. If they don't have signed contracts, they cannot be in the building after training camp starts. They have to sign a contract before they can go. So we'll see. I checked in on this yesterday. I was told no issues, no drama, nothing to worry about. Exactly. He's not signing anywhere else.
Right. That's right. He's not demanding a trade. So if we're a week or two down the road, and then we'll worry about that then. In the moment, let's live in a world, D. Wood, where they do have those guys. How good do we expect this team? It's a fascinating scenario here. I have no idea what to expect from this team. They closed so strong on defense last year. They bring in this high-profile quarterback. They bring in a couple of other pieces, including the rookie and the veteran receiver. How good do you expect this Bears team to be, D. Wood?
Well, listen, I expect them to be contending for a playoff spot towards the end of the year. I think there's a couple things when you talk about the Bears. Number one, can this defense pick up where they left off in the latter half of the season, where they were the number one scoring defense in the league? Obviously, what's the transition going to be like for Caleb Williams? I mean, I don't know if a number one pick that's been set up for success better than Caleb Williams coming into the National Football League. And I think Dan hit it on the head as well. A guy like Keenan Allen, who is such a QB-friendly wide receiver, he needs to be healthy in order to help Caleb Williams' growth into the National Football League. So I think you look at the combination of those things, they'll have an opportunity to compete. But listen, the NFC North is one of the toughest divisions in football. Think about it. You got the Lions who are here, the Green Bay Packers who are here. Okay, and we can't dispel the Minnesota Vikings as well. So this is a very, very tough division.
Go ahead, Danny.
Best situation a rookie quarterback that went number one in the draft has ever been in. We've talked about that all.
Here we go. Anointing oil.
Can they make the playoffs? Realistically, they got to get to their bye sitting 4-2 and get to Thanksgiving sitting 6-3. I mean, if you look at their first 9 or 10 or so games, you can sit there and go, okay, can they get to the bye 4-2 and maybe say Houston and the Rams? Those are really difficult games. But I think their other 4 games, Tennessee, the Colts, the Panthers, those are winnable. And then they get to the bye and they have the Commanders, the Cardinals, and the Patriots. Can they rip off?
As always, they're putting the hype and putting the pressure on the rookie and things. But we'll see where we are with the Dallas Cowboys. We'll see if anything happens on the contracts and so on. And as always, guys, I appreciate each and every one of you. I've got some work to do on this kitchen, trying to get this thing all squared away so that way when training camp opens, that we will be knee-deep bringing you all the news on the Dallas Cowboys as it breaks. As always, I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Make sure you hit the like button. Be sure to come to our live stream tonight, 9 o'clock Eastern. We'll be giving away the Randy White autograph print tonight as well. All right. Peace out.
Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report.